Welcome back to the Vendor Table presented by Aftershoot. Do you want to elevate your post-processing workflow? Aftershoot AI will help speed up and simplify every step of the process from importing, culling, editing, and exporting. Get your time back and use it to focus on the important things. What's up, Lauren?
My favorite.
She hates my radio voice. You guys hear it all the time, but you know what?
Because he just loves to hear himself talk like that sometimes. I swear you just listen to yourself and you're like, Radio Mike's here. Hello.
I kind of like my radio voice at times. Sometimes I'm like, fuck, I sound like an idiot.
I feel like when you listen to it back, you're like, ah.
Yeah, I cringe all the time. every time when I have to like re-listen to the episode. Well, we're here with Ashley Ebert. What's up, girlie? How you doing?
I'm good. I got to have a sandwich next door, and I'm feeling good. Feeling good. Excited to be here.
So you might have heard the Abundance Group ads on our platform, everything like that. This is Ashley from the Abundance
in the flesh.
Group. Okay, so she's all about scaling business. We like growing businesses. You have grown a lot of businesses.
It's true.
Like you've gotten like some 7-figure businesses out there. Fucking like I love this.
Yeah, planning company does $1 million a year. That wasn't the plan though. I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, was that exactly what you sought out to do?" And I was like, "I was 23. I barely knew how to turn a computer on." Like, no, of course that wasn't like the main thing. But you know, when you have a good thing and you market intentionally, you know, magic happens. So here we are.
Love that for you.
Yeah. Love this so much. Now, getting into it, what inspired you to start the Abundance Group, and how did you grow it into what it is today?
Yeah, I think I got asked a lot with the planning company, like, how are you doing this? How do you have multiple markets? How do you have a team of planners? And I'm like, well, just let me show you. I'm happy to, you know, behind the scenes, I'm happy to show you everything. And so I coached very casually for a while and then realized I needed to have people that were really intentional about scaling. Because when you coach someone who kind of maybe is just, you know, wants to get some good advice versus like really going to take it and run with it, it's two different things. So then it really became, I think, this just passion project for the love of this industry. I mean, Wedding Pros, I've coached a lot of different businesses over the years, but Wedding Pros were like a special type of entrepreneur because not only do we have no return clients, so we have to prospect and market all the time, but also like it's such an emotional industry, both from a vendor perspective, but also a client perspective. And so we kind of throw ourselves into the emotionality of what this is intentionally. And I think for me, it's just a lot of business owners start as solopreneurs and they kind of see success and they're like, well, what's next? So it's been really fun for me. You know, I've paved the path the hard way. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars doing it wrong. So it's like, let me save my friends the trouble. And that's just how the Abundance Group grew over the years. I mean, I've been doing this 8 years now, which is wild. And really 6 months ago or so, we really started the mastermind, which is what we've talked to y'all about, that I love, where it's not only coaching, but it's also community. It's other pros that are going through it at the same time, experiencing, you know, what the wedding industry is going through together. And that's, I think, over the last 6 months, just been my passion project.
I love it.
Love what you're doing.
Yeah, crushing it. Because like, it's one thing to build a business as a solo entrepreneur, and like it's so rewarding when you build something from nothing and turn it into something. And I mean, we both have done it. Like it's probably the most rewarding thing, like outside of, you know, having our children and everything like that. But it really is like when you nurture that and you build that into something, you're like, oh damn, like
I did that.
I was gonna say,
you built this. Like we built this podcast from nothing. It was the same thing. Like and you know we're now at a point where this has grown beyond our wildest expectations, and we're just like, holy shit, what do we do next? A lot of vendors are like that. It's like, okay, I've reached a level now where this is as far as I could take it. All right, solo entrepreneur level. Like I can't do anymore, because if I do, I'll burn out, or like, you know, I just don't know where to go. So you help with that next step. Like, and that's something that I think a lot of vendors are probably curious at, like, what can you do to take the next step? So is there a moment like in your own business where you realize like, hey, I can't do this all alone anymore, And what did that shift look like to you? Like, what was that next step for you?
Yeah, both my like aha moment, but also I think for the vast majority of my coaching clients, it's I have I've gotten inquiries on dates I'm already booked. And again, uniquely in this wild world that is weddings, dates are such a commodity. We have such an unusual business industry with all of these different components. And really, okay, if I'm booked on a Saturday and you're a solopreneur, you're like, that's it. Well, there's revenue being left on the table. And so for me, I was about 6 months in when I got my first inquiry for a date I was already booked. And I'm like, okay, maybe I could have someone else help me with that. And so I didn't. Again, I was 23. I was the worst leader probably in the planet. And I was like, here you go, keys to the kingdom. Let's have fun. Like, don't screw it up. I look back and I'm like, I'm so sorry that I did that. But it is that idea of like, you're leaving revenue on the table in any, whether you're a service-based or a product-based wedding pro, stationers, florists, you still need to really have people around you to help you scale past that one and done Saturday.
That's like, it kind of bridges into the next question a little bit, because it's like, obviously you're getting double booked, or you're like, you're getting inquiries, like the demand is there, right? Like,
We've both seen it.
Yeah. Like, as vendors, like, we've often gotten inquiries for the same date. Okay. 21st night of September.
Yeah. No.
No, man, this year it's the 20th.
Yeah, I know.
The 20th is insane.
Yeah. So like we get a lot of inquiries for the same date, things like that. And as solo entrepreneurs, like some don't want to, like take on more, or like using like as photographers or associates, and stuff like that.
Can I speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, go
I was
ahead.
like, Mike's going to say, Lauren's going to say something about like solopreneur vibes. And I'm like, I think, can I lovingly say,
Absolutely,
I've listened to you guys.
let it fly.
I know your community is this. A lot of the times when people are like, I'm just going to stay a solopreneur and that's my end ball game. I'm like, that is a lot of scarcity mindset talking. It really is.
You're not wrong.
No. Because here to your point, I've grown this baby, I've grown this business, and I don't trust anybody else to take care of it like I do. And I promise there are so many skilled, amazing, integrity-filled humans that want to get behind the vision and the business that you're building. And I've just seen it play over time and time and time again with friends, with clients, of like, give it, like, if you can get past that moment, if you can get past that, no one's going to do it as well as I can, the whole world opens up. The ceiling is no longer on your business. And that's like the big aha that I want people to have is maybe this solopreneur, I don't want to be a bad boss. I don't want to lead people. I don't want to, scale this business. I haven't found a lot of the time, like when I dig deeper, that's actually what's going on. It's mostly fear talking. And so like my job as a coach is like to dig into that a little bit. Like, okay, tell me more about that. Why? Again, typically it's mostly around trust. So what I will say, and sometimes there's like, I feel like it's probably like closer to 5% of the time that really soulpreneurship just fits the mold for them better. They're insanely creative. They're insanely driven to continually have that client, be the face. But a lot of the times, again, this industry, you get burned out after a while. You've been doing it long enough that you're like, I could pass on this crazy client. We all have that one where you're waiting for the date to come. And the next day you're going to celebrate. So I do think it is, if I'm going to be honest, I think a lot of I just want to stay a solopreneur might be a mindset shift that needs to happen.
You're not wrong, because for me, it's definitely trust. Like, it's also the amount of work, like as a photographer, that goes into the day and everything like that. Like, I'm very hands-on. I want to be very client-facing. I want to detail all this stuff. I experimented having an associate with probably one of my most trusted photographers I've ever had on my team. And we talk about her all the time, Meredith. Meredith has been my right hand for, I think, around 5 years now. I trust her, everything like that. Just like I would trust Lauren or my other second shooter, Joe. They could handle a day and handle my clients, and they know how all that works. At the end of the day, for me, it came down to the work I was putting into it, that like I trusted her. She showed up. She fucking crushed it. I got burnt out from handling, I think it was 6 extra clients that year that I wasn't prepared for. So there was like I wanted to scale, and I still do. I still kind of do.
That's all right. We'll talk.
Like we kind of scaled in a different way
Yeah,
because we scaled this. Like the podcast grew is now a second business. So I can't scale. Like
And now we have a whole other thing that we have to talk about.
Yeah,
Ashley.
100%. Yeah.
Now we don't know what.
And we've talked a little bit about it. But yeah, for sure.
But this became a second business. So now I physically can't do it. But a lot of vendors out there will like there's early signs that their wedding business is growing, and they are like maybe they don't know like when it's time to take that next step. But what are like some of the early signs that a wedding vendor is ready to scale their business?
I think it's like if you feel that burnout, that can be a really good indicator that there's probably a better way out there. There's probably there's other businesses that are doing it in every single vendor category. People are scaling. So I think if you're feeling that burnout and you've lost a little bit of the magic. Remember the magic we had like year 1 or year 2, where it was like.
Well, I can speak to like my experience, my personal experience is what I was shooting for a studio, which is also another
thing I'll tell you that,
Yeah, is that's where my fear comes from growth, is because I saw how it became from that experience, and I never wanted it to be like that. And I know in my brain there are things like learning from that experience that I would never repeat, but it still doesn't negate the fear that's going to be there. So I think a lot of people, maybe they go like, you know, I don't know how or when I'll ever be ready, or if I am ready. But like, we want to know like what could possibly be, because I remember after like when I had my son and I went back to shooting, I got burnt out so bad. I wanted to leave. Like I wanted to be completely done. And now knowing what I know now, it really just meant I needed to move on. So I think maybe a lot of people see the burnout and they're just like,
my only option is exit. And that is not the case, especially for those that build these beautiful brands that have such a reputation and a way that they take care of clients. It's kind of like, man, you're burning it down when it's in it. It could potentially be in its prime. Because I feel like when you build a business, it's not necessarily just to make you money. It's also to have impact. It's also to have freedom. It's also to have all of these really beautiful things that we actually go into entrepreneurship for. But then we get caught up with the clients, and a little bit of the fear creeps in, and the worry about, does scale equal bigger business, more difficult business, more challenging? Is it going to have that, studio or, firm feel? And it's like, it doesn't have to be that way, especially if the leader at the head of the organization is intentional about it. I can promise you it doesn't have to be that way. Those are bad business owners. And you and Mike, right? You guys aren't bad business owners. Like you love it. Why would you start this podcast if you didn't love the industry, right? So it's
heard that,
right? But it's so true. It's so true.
Yeah, you fuckers.
So many people.
Hey,
These two are just haters.
Yeah,
No,
we don't hate
that.
everything.
No,
I actually really love this industry.
You of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course you do. And so it is that of like, it is such an interesting place to be in this industry. And if you love it, please don't burn it down, because I promise you can have the freedom. Like, okay, let's talk about my life. Okay. I own a wedding planning company. We have 7 locations. We do $1 million a year. And I actually was with my managing director the other day, and I was telling someone else how many hours I had worked over the year. And I was like, Lindsay, cover your ears, earmuffs. And it was like 20 hours that whole year. And again, when you build something beyond yourself, when you build something that has that legacy, has that impact, it is not that I'm not brilliant. I'm pretty ordinary. I'm going to be real honest. I can, hold a conversation and, have a good time. But like outside of that, I'm not, Albert Einstein when it comes to, anything I'm doing. There's nothing magical here. It is a really intentional, thoughtful strategy. I've surrounded myself with some very awesome humans. And again, the momentum you start to create is actually the magic. It's not actually, you don't have to feel like you're going to be the one doing it all. It's the momentum as you're building that is unstoppable. And again, that's exactly what happened to us at Simply Elegant.
So awesome.
Well, it's really inspiring because I think a lot of people in this industry are just like, I can only do this on my own. And again, building trust with a team of people that, you can trust your baby with, which is your business, is a very difficult hurdle to jump. But when you get there, it could be very rewarding. So,
well, and it's done in baby steps. It's done, everybody here has a certain, risk tolerance. I'm like the jump out of the plane, maybe try to build a parachute. Let's just see what happens. It's about to be a good time. Like that's my vibe. Okay. Not for everybody. And then there's very risk intolerant people. And so I might throw the keys to the kingdom to somebody and say like, prove to me that you're good. Let's go. Let's see it. And someone else might say, okay, build this timeline for me. Okay. Edit these 3 photos for me. It's a smaller give. Yeah. And it can be based on whatever your risk tolerance is.
Sure.
I will tell you the momentum goes faster the more that you kind of start to continue to trust the process. But overarchingly, you don't ever have, it's your business. You can build it at the pace that feels best for you.
It's risk reward too, right?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, like,
100%.
because you are putting a lot more trust into maybe people that, a lot of vendors out there wouldn't want to do, business owners wouldn't want to do. It's a big risk because you risk your reputation if these people let you down, things like that. So, sometimes I say this all the time, like as a wedding vendor, though, you took a big risk getting into this. Maybe you left a 9-to-5, a corporate job, a studio, something like that. So you started from nothing, took a risk, and made the jump. This is the same process. It's just
Trusting yourself.
adding another level.
Yeah, trusting yourself and trusting people. I love that you talked about this because this is one of my favorite things to address is basically like scarcity versus abundance mindset, right? Abundance group, we're kind of known for the abundance, right? Mindset. And how I articulate this is and I'm a nerd, okay? If everybody can't tell by my Disney shirt and my Olaf tattoo, I'm a pretty big nerd.
I've learned all
By the
that.
way,
Yeah, like just
immediately
saying.
noticed.
Yeah,
I just got back from Disney, and I haven't been there in 20 years, and now I know why adults love Epcot.
Oh, man. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
that orange slushy in France. The orange slush.
Yes, I did have. I had some grapefruit one in somewhere in Morocco, I think it was. It was
Sparkly
delicious.
purple drink in like Norway.
Ooh,
it was good.
Limoncello, and at least could be a whole nother podcast.
Limoncello in Italy was good, but I got introduced to it at 9:30 in the morning. My wife's cousin was like, "Here you go, beer in England." I'm like,
Yep.
I love
This
this.
is why we do Disney, man.
Love
Heck,
it. So,
yes.
so we're super excited to announce a partnership with Aftershoot. Aftershoot AI is designed to speed up and simplify every step of the process from importing, culling, editing, and exporting. Aftershoot truly changed the game for us as wedding photographers.
I love Aftershoot.
Isn't it so great?
Yeah, culling is super easy. Editing is super easy. You train your own profile based on the way that you edit.
It's so good.
You know what my favorite part is?
What is it?
Unlimited edits.
Isn't that great? Like, it's just you pay one price per month or per year. You're locked in. Amazing. Edit as much as you want on the go. Like, you could be on an airplane and it works.
Okay, I changed my mind. That's the best part.
Like, love that. Like you be on the go. You don't need internet to work the program. It is so simple, so easy to use, and it's incredible. And I think you guys should try it out.
You can cull thousands of photos in minutes with AI that helps identify the best selections. Build an editing profile based on the way that you edit, or you can even select one from top industry pros. Export right into Lightroom, Capture One, or Bridge for fast and accurate results.
So with an Aftershoot subscription, you get an all-in-one AI assistant that can cull, edit, crop, straighten, export, and now you could also retouch using it as well. No paying an extra. It's all included.
You can try it for free for 30 days using the link in the show notes and use code TVT15 for 15% off a subscription purchase.
2025 is already showing rough trends in the wedding industry. With the economic shifts we're seeing, cancellations, reschedules, and downgrades from clients are all on the rise. And if you don't have a contract that specifically protects you from these situations, you're the one eating the costs.
The Legal Paige contracts are built for exactly what's happening right now. Clear cancellation terms, strong rescheduling language, no downgrade policies, force major updates, and more. So when a client tries to change everything last minute, you're not scrambling. Your contract already has it covered. A huge bonus to us as wedding vendors is that all Legal Paige contracts also include free future updates as the industry keeps evolving.
This week only through Thursday, May 22nd, you could get 40% off all contracts. Plus use our code TVT10 at checkout for an extra $10 off the already discounted price. It's the perfect time to lock down the legal protections you need for the rest of 2025. Future you and your sanity will thank you. You ever just feel like you're playing catch up with inquiries?
Nuh-uh.
Why not?
Because I have HoneyBook.
Isn't HoneyBook like the absolute best?
Yeah, it's been game changing for my business.
It is like the biggest game changer for wedding creatives, for wedding vendors. You don't understand it until you're in it.
Everything is fully automated. You can have the AI like pretty much take care of everything for you and only just personalize everything as you go.
Exactly. So like now the second someone inquires, they get automated personalized messages without like lifting a finger. That's like the biggest thing for me. I'm getting back to my clients quicker. I'm giving them like personalized responses. You can't beat that with a CRM platform.
No, my workflow on the back end has been so much more streamlined since signing up with HoneyBook, I think 4 years ago.
It's like having a business partner that just makes you look super professional. And follow-ups handled. You don't even have to think about it. HoneyBook keeps everything running behind the scenes.
Which means more book clients without the stress. Honestly, if you're still manually chasing leads, it's time to switch to HoneyBook.
Do it. Get your time back, grow your business, start your free trial today with the link in our description. But go ahead. We could derail it and go into a different. Yeah.
But so it's this idea of abundance versus scarcity, right? And it's easy. And everybody, even me, who I live in an abundance mindset and I own a company called The Abundance Group, like I slip into this too. So it's no big deal. But how do we get out of it? So it's this idea of, and again, when I say I'm a nerd, I love reading psychology studies. I love looking at the data. I love looking like, okay, explain to me human behavior. Because not only do I want to know it from a sales perspective, but I also want to know about it from a leadership perspective. I want to understand people. So in one of my nerdy seasons, I was studying anxiety and why do we have it? What is it? What does it do in our life? Fear, anxiety, and worry, categorizing them kind of all in one bucket. When we have it, and when we're worried about something, pick anything, 85% of the time when we worry about it, it never happens. So I think a lot of people have heard that. But digging down the rabbit hole a little deeper, of the 15% of the time that it does happen, 80% of the time it goes better than we think it will. So, nerdy math, Ashley, that means that 97% of the time, things go better than we expect. Why are we ever letting the 3% guide our business? That makes no sense, right? Mm-hmm. So it's this idea of leaning into the 97. So we always say in the mastermind, you're part of the 97% club. And again, you might have a 3% thought, and that's okay. That doesn't mean you're in scarcity. It just means you had a thought. And so what you do is then you go, okay, am I really going to, run my business that way? Nope. I'm going to think in abundance. Here's what actually could happen from that. So again, it's just this beautiful way of kind of catching yourself, maybe being in your own way when you're in this growth and scaling mindset.
That's so valuable.
Relatable.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're all there. Like, it's not like I never have a 3% thought in my whole life. Like, of course I do. Today I had it, but it's something that you can grab onto, take control of, and decide what's going to work best for you. Sure. And again, in business ownership, there's so much unknown. There's so much that we can worry about, have anxiety about. And then how do we get past that? And that's a tool that I've found very helpful and my community has found super helpful too.
Yeah. I mean, anxiety is the fear of the unknown. So it's like, a lot of people look at that and like, I don't know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And, as business owners, that's so relatable. Like, cause it's scary. Like, where is the next client coming from? Where is this coming from? A lot of vendors are starting out, like a lot of people that listen to the show, like might be new vendors, things like that. And they're starting out and they're wondering like, how can I get to that next level? But like, what's like the first hire or maybe like system you could recommend to somebody that's like, they're looking to invest in something, starting their business or growing their business, or like maybe they're just not organized or something like that. But they need something, maybe it could be a system, a hire, anything like that. What's something you recommend to get started?
I mean, I always look at, the first hire that you're going to have to be revenue generating. So how are they going to help you bring revenue into the business? Because then that negates the how am I going to afford payroll question. Mm. If they're making money, your business is growing, then you're able to afford, right? Also, I would say with that in tandem, it kind of depends on the vendor category a little bit. So like planners or, service-based businesses, how can we maybe have a VA come in and help us, but alleviate the tasks that aren't really high value, right? So then we're freeing up the time in our as the business owner, you're freeing up that time to go market and sell. So that's where I would say strategically the best hires are. But again, it really depends on the business owner and the business owner's strengths themselves. What do they need off the table, like off their plate? But I would say think about it from a revenue generating perspective and think about it from a how is this going to help me go do more of the things I'm really good at, marketing, sales, typically.
Love that. Yeah, it's very smart. Like, is there like, I mean, for us, we're photographers. We're sponsored by HoneyBook, so like we always love pushing CRM systems. Like and like that for me was a big help in going full time, going from a part-time photographer to full time. Like having a system that is really an organizational piece behind the scenes that's like I could run my business off of. Is that like a good investment that like somebody could make into their wedding planning business or into their business in general, I should say, like their wedding entrepreneurship?
It'd be real awkward if I said no. I'm just kidding. No, I think they're great. In all honesty, I think CRMs are fantastic.
Yeah.
And what they're doing, especially HoneyBook, I don't know if y'all have played with like the AI that they have now, like absolutely smart, like absolutely be digging into those tools, because what's going to take you an hour to learn is going to save you 40 hours on the back end.
Yeah.
That's just smart investing. I always say, if you went to Vegas and you knew you could throw 100 on the table and make 40 times that back, you do it all day.
Yeah.
So I think that's exactly what happens with HoneyBook, CRMs that are really paying attention to the times. And again, with their AI integrations, like now it's just it's exponentially valuable. So instead of taking, giving you 40 hours back, it's giving you 400 hours back.
Yeah.
And that's a game changer. So absolutely, I think it's really smart. And I think the one thing, depending upon where you're at in your business, if you're a real, a baby business, I would say, and you don't necessarily have a lot of systems and a lot of things in place, that's okay too, because you want a good foundation. You really want there to be a rooted system that your business scales on, because you're going to scale. You have the potential to scale. Any business owner does. So it's like, why not get that, the back of the house cleaned up before it's it's a mansion and you got to go back there is a way harder. Yeah, 100%.
I love that.
Now we kind of touched on growing and scaling. But like, what's the main difference between growing a business and scaling it, and why does it matter for vendors?
Yeah, this is such a good question. Growing is, I say it's like a one-to-one. You're going to get a client, you're going to make more money, right? It's kind of a one-to-one growth. And a lot of us feel that. And I say, when you're in a growth, season, you get stuck in this hustle loop. And it's this idea of, okay, I took on more clients to make more money. Well, now I have more stress, more work. The business is expanding, which is great. So we have more expenses. And so I have to take on more clients to do more work, right? It's this like cycle that people feel, and this is burnout. This is how kind of I really articulate visually what burnout is. So that's growth, right? Scaling is a 2-for-1. So you're growing at a larger pace because what you're doing has more impact on the business. So this is systems. This is having a second shooter. This is having, a VA take work off your plate. So now, every hour you're putting in, you're getting 2 back versus really just the exchange of time for money, right? And I think that's where people, they feel really stressed, especially when they look at it and they think growing is scaling. They are different. So I love that you asked that question, because growth is, again, it's this one-to-one. But scaling is really being intentional and doing it in a way where you see profound impact. And then you start working from Epcot and, chilling and hanging with your family on a Monday of peak season, right?
While your business just takes care of itself.
And it does, because you've scaled versus grown. Yeah.
I think that's every vendor's dream, is like their business running self-sufficiently and being able to enjoy time and get time back. I mean, in reality, like we've said this on the show, but like a lot of vendors got into this to, be their own boss and to enjoy, and they end up working twice as hard as if they were at a 9-to-5. So,
well, and that's why I say, when you're like, there are solopreneurs, I was like, I think everybody that takes the jump from a W-2 job, they really do want the freedom that comes with being an entrepreneur. And so again, there's ways to mitigate that worry. There's ways to mitigate the trust issues that, again, like we teach it at the Abundance Group all day. We have modules. You guys would die at the amount of training and information that we have that helps you work through these mindset shifts. But really, you didn't start this business to be stuck behind a laptop. And so many people accept that as their fate in this industry. And they accept that they're going to have to deal with the barking clients and the drunk mother of the brides. Like, that doesn't have to be what we do as wedding pros. There is a way to scale, and everybody listening to this, I promise, scaling is possible.
That kind of gets into our next question
Clip
too.
that.
Yeah, that's a good clip.
That was a good one.
It's true though.
That kind of gets into our next question though, because we had a question down here is like, can every wedding business scale, or is there some that are better off staying like boutique or a solo?
Everybody can scale. Period. Next question. No, all of it to say is I've coached hundreds and hundreds of wedding pros, and it's been every single vendor category under the sun. And we have grown them and gotten them to places that they didn't think possible when our work first started together. I mean, I have a client that I'm working with who's a newer business owner. She started with me about 6 months ago in the mastermind, and she, what's the word for 5X, quintupled or whatever, her business, right? In 6 months. And it's due to like,
Jesus.
It's this idea of like, there are things that work, and there are ways to do this in a way where you can feel in complete control. And there's certain layers of things we pay attention to. So when I talk about the hustle loop, kind of my cure for that is what I call the empire with ease model. And it's this idea, think of kind of like a pyramid shape, but there's foundational work we do. There's kind of tier 2 and tier 3. And those layers are going to set you up so you can grow this thing as large as you want for as long as you want. And again, I just want anybody that's listening to hear that you don't have to feel burnout anymore. There are solutions. There are people that want to come around you and be helpful to you, because this industry can get isolating sometimes, and it just doesn't have to be that way.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the main things that we loved about the Abundance Group, is that it gives people a sense of community in an otherwise very isolating industry, because we are working by ourselves. It's not like we have coworkers that we see regularly. We'll see them at weddings.
I was like, I see my dog. I mean, Callie chills with me, but.
And we've talked about like this loneliness feeling that we often get as creatives, as wedding professionals, where we are working from home or working from an office by ourselves, where that can be like very, I can put some strain on your mental health. Mm-hmm. So knowing that there's a community of people that you've created that are going through some of the same struggles, and using your abundance mindset to come together for success is really valuable.
Yeah, I love it. We actually just had our in-person event a couple weeks ago, and just being together in a room, like that just in and of itself was amazing. But also like I'm over here, like, yes, I'm the main coach of the group, but there is so much brilliance in our members. Like I'm there and I'm kind of the head of it for now, but I really feel that I have some good ideas. They're great, but also like so many people have lived experiences that are smart, that are generous and want to share. And my job as we build this mastermind is to steward who joins us well. So we have this both. When we were building the itinerary for the in-person, I said, what do you want to get from it? But also, what are you going to give to it? Because everybody in that room should expect that they're also giving and not just taking from the group. And I had so many people that were like, I could give this, I could do this, we didn't have enough time in the schedule. Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty and the brilliance of these humans that are in this. And it's been the biggest privilege of my career to put it together, to steward it, and again, to lead it. And I really think it's going to be revolutionary for the industry.
It sounds like it.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how can a creative vendor become like a strong leader? Like, so like, you have this community you're building, like, you talk about leadership and things like that. Like, so even if management isn't their natural strength, like how could somebody become a stronger leader?
Yeah, this is a great question. Kind of along the lines of where we first even talked about of like, I've seen really bad business owners, and I've worked for these studios and they were just crap. Like they were just awful humans. Every person has the potential to be a good leader. We all have different strengths and characteristics from leadership. So I'm going to try to do this very fast, but I teach on something called the temperament. So 4-quadrant model, right? So there's extroversion, introversion, relationships, or results when you're thinking about it. So a extroverted relationship-oriented person is a yellow. A extroverted results-oriented is a red. A introverted results-oriented is a blue. And an introverted relationship-oriented is a green. So it's just kind of this really basic it's like you're like me or not like me in 2 categories. Each one of the temperament types has strengths that they are good at. So yellows, they walk into a room and they're magnets. But they also have weaknesses. They're very easily distracted and they can get off course, right? I'm trying to figure out what your guys' colors and I'm like, I think I know. But anyways, that's for after the show.
I'd love for you to guess later.
After the show. But so, right. And then reds, they're just like boss energy. They're driven, right? But they can be real intense and they can bark orders at people and they can command things that they don't have any business because they haven't built the trust in the relationship. Blues, deeply thoughtful, deeply intentional. They have great integrity, but sometimes they can get in their own way because they're not necessarily moving quickly. And greens my husband's a green, so greens are actually my favorite. They are the kindest humans and they are so chill and go with the flow, but sometimes they can be avoidant. So just kind of giving that to you in a two minute, piece, it's this idea that everybody, all the temperament types have value because we wouldn't have, this exuberant optimism without yellows. We wouldn't get stuff done without the reds. We'd trip on all the potholes if we didn't have the blues, and there'd be no sense of collaboration without the greens. So when you understand your temperament type, and we have a super easy quiz on our website. It's just theabundance.group/quiz. Go take it. It's super fun. Have your team take it. That's also fun. So people that are in our group also have like their lead planners or their shooter.
I love stuff like this, like
it's
the personality
so
types, like the Myers-Briggs. Like we talked about that with Carlo a little bit. I can't get enough of it, so I'm like gonna go home and
it's so fun, and you'll love it. And now I'm excited.
I know what color you are, right?
I was gonna say, I gotta ask you guys after the show. Once you figure out what color you are, then you can understand where I rise and where I might fall. And all leaders have strengths. So again, my green leaders, which you wouldn't think are like traditional leaders, because you think of reds, like they take up space in the room and you want to follow them. They're visionaries, right? If there's an unhealthy red at the table, they are the worst leader in the room.
I've worked for a lot of unhealthy reds.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's the fear, honestly, a lot of the time when people think about scaling or building a business, they're like, man, I worked for a shit red once and I don't want to do it again. I can't be that. Well, one, even if you are a red, be a healthy one, but everyone innately has skills that transfer to being a great leader. Again, a red who's unhealthy, I would take, any other temperament color all day. But again, as greens, there's this beautiful relationship that you can build. And that's really what leadership is. Mm-hmm. Leadership is relationships. Leadership is influence. And so any temperament type can be a phenomenal leader, and every temperament type can be a really crappy leader too. Mm-hmm. It just really depends on, where they're at. Again, their mental health or the intentionality about their leadership at large, but
the way they nurture it.
Yeah. The way they're intentional about it. Absolutely.
Yeah. I've worked corporate. I've seen it. Lauren's worked for studios and things like that. Like where I know you've seen it. We've talked about it on the show. So like there's, I love equating them to color too. Mm-hmm. Very Inside Out, by the way.
Very Inside Out.
Don't I know it? And I'm like, what is fear though? Fear doesn't actually play. But anyways, been down that road. And,
the purples. The purples. I
Yeah.
love that movie, by the way. But super excited to announce a partnership with Blacksmith Print Co.
Look at this thick bitch.
Oh God, she's spicy. I love her. Yeah. So Blacksmith brings quality, simplicity, and a boutique customer service to photographers looking to upgrade their album experience. These things are fucking good.
Beautiful.
I mean, we picked them up. Like we got Brady, the owner, sent us these sample albums with our photos in them. One, they look gorgeous. Color was
fantastic.
Spot fucking on. Beautiful, beautiful albums. Super thick, super heavy.
He also walked us through the design process and onboarding
personally.
Yeah.
And he does that for every single client that he books.
Yeah, and I love that personalized experience. So the albums included, like what he offers, 8x8, 10x10, 12x12 sizes available. So included with an album purchase is premium packaging, free shipping, any cover material. They have leather, linen, embossed names, raised letters, cameo window option, and embossing foil, so you can see your names and everything like that.
90% of orders ship within 7 business days, and ordering is super easy right through the website. Blacksmith only takes 30 to 50 new photographers a year who are looking to order 15 albums a year or more. A special offer for Vendor Table listeners who qualify will get $500 of album credits towards your first sample when you mention the Vendor Table in the How Did You Hear About Us section when applying on Blacksmith's website.
So check them out for yourself at blacksmithprintco.com.
If you're a wedding pro looking to scale your business, you have got to check out the Abundance Group Mastermind.
Yeah, this isn't just like any other program. It's an experience like nothing else in the wedding world. So I worked with Ashley. She's amazing. And let me tell you, she's one of the really the most generous, genuine people I've ever met. She's built $1 million a year wedding planning company and shares her knowledge and time in a way that's truly unmatched.
In the Mastermind, you get unlimited daily voice coaching with Ashley. Yes, really. Access to every course she's ever created, and 2 incredible live in-person events each year. Plus, the group itself is filled with wedding vendors who are scaling, many who are over the $100,000 mark, some even hitting $500,000 plus.
Jeez.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good. This isn't just about learning. It's about being part of a community that gets it and pushes you to grow, really. So if you're serious about scaling your business, all right, you want to take it to the next level, you got to check this out.
What's great for TVT listeners is that we have a special link that allows you to skip the wait list. So check out the link in the show notes for more info. We just want to give a special shout out to Maru, one of our sponsors. Maru is a modern payment experience for the weddings and events industry.
Maru has added some incredible new features, including the ability to send contracts, create itemized invoices, and our personal favorite, the ability to pay contractors.
Love this.
Yeah, that makes me so happy to have a platform that if I need to pay like an associate or a second shooter, I'm paying them right through Maru. It just goes right to their bank account, makes things so nice and easy.
It's also so neat and organized.
Yeah.
You can find anything.
Super organized. I love it because I'm just like, hey, I got to print it out at the end of the year, send my accountant over for tax purposes and all that stuff.
Perfect.
It keeps things so nice and neat.
Maru is a community of 10,000 plus wedding and event professionals, and it's growing. They offer seamless transactions and a hassle-free payment experience. They make it easy for you to focus on what you do best, creating memorable experiences.
So we went over, but with Maru, you could create and share your contract, accept and make payments without processing fees, offer clients a simpler experience, no need to sign up, just pay and go, and pay your contractors, something we both love. So it also keeps all your payments neatly organized in the central hub. You could sign up for free at maru.us/TBT. But no, it's interesting because you could have blends and you could have things like that. Like I'm just thinking in my call, I feel like I'm a strong leader, but I'm also like, I try to be sympathetic and understand things. I feel like millennials in general, like there's this thing on TikTok where it's like the millennial boss, and like the millennial bosses are like very understanding. They're very like sympathetic, like, oh, like, like they have these Gen Z workers that are coming and working for them. And Gen Z's like, just telling them like they're spilling the tea and all this stuff. And they're just talking like normal, but also millennial bosses have a harder work ethic. We come from the generation that was like, you still understood like what it was to work hard and
But we had to.
But
we're fucking fighting for our life out here.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it is. Let's go.
So
how many natural disasters and fucking recessions do we have to live through?
100%. Like that's
Here we are. Yeah.
That's the thing is like, we grew up in the pre-internet generation. We are the internet generation when it comes down to it. And then, where we have a generation coming up after us that grew up with all of that. So they have that mindset. They know how it works, but let's nurture them into understanding what it was like to not have that, because that's the part where you get better.
Nurture instead of lecture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there's an attunement, like you're attuned to your team.
Right.
There's a little bit more, again, this understanding of like bridging the gap. You go from a boomer to, it's just, we're like the in-between, we're the bridge.
There's no chill.
We're the bridge.
Between the two.
And we're both here going like, either of you is fine. It's just, like you have to, again, I think the biggest, so I get this question or get a version of this question a lot of like, how do I motivate my team members if they are Gen Z? And, for me, it's not even necessarily about motivation. It's more about making an intentional set of expectations, because a lot of the times what I have found, and I found this in my own team, that they just don't know that that's what it's supposed to be. So they'll make assumptions based on what works for them, which a little bit we all do. But I think millennials and boomers are kind of like, well, whatever the boss thinks, that's fine. Like whatever, I'm going to defer. Whereas Gen Z, I think is in this beautiful stage where they're like, well, then I'm going to be empowered to say like, this is what works for me. And so I think if we can take a step back as leaders and set really good expectations, we can kind of mitigate some of that frustration that happens a lot. And again, I talk about this all the time with my private clients, and this is something that's a big conversation. And I said, the onus is on you as the leader to make sure they understand what the job is, what the expectations are, and why. That's the other thing is, when you work for a shit studio or whatever, and they're like, this is what we do. And you're like, why? And they're like, this is just what we do. It's like, well, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Like you don't get the buy-in from
She
people,
knows that all
right?
too well.
I know.
There's no buy-in.
So much of that. If I could roll my eyes harder, I could see my brain.
Well, right. And it's just like, if you probably would have been told in that situation, hey, Lauren, this is actually why we do it for this reason, and this reason. What do you think? Does that make sense?
You could buy into
You'd
it.
be like,
maybe.
okay, yeah, that sounds great. I totally get it now. And you would move with different, as a team member, you would move with different intentionality. And that's, again, the onus is on us as leaders. So I think, yes, when you start to scale and build a team, the number one thing you're developing is your leadership skill set. Yep. But guess what? That one's easy. That's a plug and play. Anybody can be a good leader. There's books on it. It's 5 steps. It's so it's really something. It's a skill that can be learned.
It's so true you said that too, because I had a boss I had two different style bosses. I had like the red style boss who was just like very much like authoritative and everything like that, and then I had one that like really tried to teach you why the process was the process and why it worked and things like that. And then we're open to the questions of like, hey, like, I have a suggestion here. Maybe this could help it. Or like, this doesn't seem to be working. Like, would you be open to change? And I feel like those are the best leaders because they're receptive to it. Like,
but I think each type of leader, whether they're red, yellow, blue, green, those are all of them, right?
Yeah.
That they can all be healthy. It's when you have a bad one that they become a bad leader.
Sure.
So like red, we kind of like automatically just color wise, we associate with like aggression, I think even.
That's why Inside Out, I was like, that's so spot
Right.
on. It is a little bit
Yes.
like we do. Yeah. 100%.
So we automatically associate with aggression, but that might just be passion.
Yeah.
Misinterpreted. So it's like, I guess how they nurture it, put it out into the world, that makes them a good leader.
Yeah.
And
Like you could have such high passion people. They don't have to be a dick about it.
Right.
Like
That's not how you do it.
It's like I actually had a boss too that was like, he was like electric, high passion, definitely a red. Like, but he wasn't an asshole.
Yeah.
And like I loved learning from him and I love the energy. And I kind of I have like I'm thinking of myself. I was like, I have red tendencies, but I also try to like nurture relationships. I also try to teach like my second shooters, like Meredith, who I mentioned earlier. I really like, she first started with me as a shooter. She probably learned a lot of tendencies from me. So I tried to like say like, this is why I do it like this. This is why I try to like do it like this. And I see she picked it up and she like knows, and that's how she runs her business. So like I always say, like, if you want to be a good leader, nurturing those people working for you is a big factor.
It's relationships. And again, relationships are influence. And the thing, Lauren, that you were talking about unhealthy versus healthy temperament types. So the coolest part about this research is actually the most important facet for someone to be healthy or unhealthy is that their innate needs are met. And each of the 4 kind of categories have different needs. So for example, yellows, approval, acceptance is important for them. Reds, a sense of control and appreciation, credit for work. Those are important to reds. Blues, it's safety, it's solitude, it's sensitivity. And greens for, again, just these compassionate, sweet souls, worthiness, lack of stress, respect. So this is like the coolest hack in the world, and you can't use this for evil. But when you have someone on your team, or honestly anybody in your life that you feel is showing up in their temperament color in an unhealthy way, you intentionally serve and show up to meet their needs. And watch it change.
Diabolical.
It is the coolest. That's why I say you can't use it for evil, because it is magic. And this is for leaders that really want the best out of their team and the best out of their legacy, their impact. This is the kind of stuff where, again, I say leadership can be taught. You know, and when you do these, when you have these relationships, because again, like with my husband, for example, worthiness is huge. So he is the best dad in the world. The best dad. He homeschools my daughter. They have the coolest, they're down the block having a sandwich together right now. Like the coolest relationship. But, you know, it's not the masculine thing that he was told. And I'm like, that is the dumbest shit. This is the best life. Yep. You are the best dad. I am so freaking happy that you are living in your truth. So I can come on this cool ass podcast with my friends and talk to the industry and people that we love. Like you're doing that badass thing. And we get to go do ours. That's magic. And so if I try to say that to him all the time, and he is a different, because he didn't have the best household growing up, mental health, right? But watching him now, he flies. He's the coolest dude. And he has, again, this beautiful relationship with my daughter. And again, when I really figured out that worthiness was a big one, respect, lack of stress, that's a good one too. So I have red tendencies. I'm a yellow red. So I go. I'm like, babe, let's go. He's like, I need you to be here.
God, I'm dying to know what I am.
And so, so it is one of those things.
We're
and again,
definitely
you can't use it for evil. You can't use it for evil. You have to use it for good. That's how it works.
That's
I don't
phenomenal.
do things for evil.
That's phenomenal. All right, so we're nearing the end of the chat here. I want to ask you one more important question before we go into this or that, the rapid fire part. But what do you say to the vendor who is booked solid but burnt out?
Call me. And truly that means you don't even have to pay me. I just want to help. I think that there are options. You don't have to feel this way. Just because you've been doing it for so long, I get it. I do. And you have this vision and this dream that you've worked so hard for, and that is amazing. And sometimes we don't stop long enough to be grateful for the space that we've built for ourselves. But there is a better way to get us towards I always say when I'm coaching, what's the horizon we're running towards? What does that look like? It looks different for everybody, right? For me, I want to be at Disney once a month if I can. I live in Minnesota. That's not everybody's vision, and that's okay. But what is the why? And when we kind of reverse engineer that, there are strategies. There are humans that are here to cheer for you and take your heavy backpack off and show you, kindness and compassion. But there's absolutely I've had this call so many times where I had tears on calls with people where, this is my first interaction with them. And I'm like, tell me what's going on. And they've given it all. It doesn't have to be that way. I promise there's so many resources and so many humans that are cheering you on. And, but yeah, absolutely jokingly, but a little bit reach out, hit me up in the DMs. I want to get you whatever I can to help.
Slide into Ashley's DMs.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Absolutely. Please.
I love it. All right. So I love that. This is a perfect bridge into this or that, our rapid fire section.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have Lauren kick it off.
Would you rather hire a virtual assistant first or a bookkeeper first?
Virtual assistant, because they can make you more money. Bookkeepers will tell you about your money, and that's fine. But I want to make more money, more freedom. Yeah.
All right. Would you rather more clients or higher paying clients?
Better clients. That's the middle ground. Higher paying to me sometimes also comes into you're going up a level in the industry, a tier, luxury, ultra luxury, whatever. If you want the level of expectations that are attached to that, great, cool. If not, more clients, but I don't want more shit clients. I want better clients. So in the middle, is that cheating? 100% probably cheating.
Yeah.
That's all right. It makes sense though. It makes sense.
Yeah.
No, that makes perfect sense.
More automation or more delegation?
Delegation, because then you're building a relationship with a person that can help you grow the business, scale the business. Yeah. Yeah.
And they could also help you automate.
That's right.
So
yeah, 100%.
I thought that one too. I was
it.
I like that question, but also I'm thinking you delegate more, they could help automate. So
yeah, and if you make more money, you can pay someone to set up your CRM. So then it's
true. True.
Money helps relieve some stress. Yeah,
look at that.
100%.
All right, last question: morning meetings or late night brainstorming?
Oh, late night cocktail hour for sure. I'm on my way to a mastermind that I'm a part of, and I need to watch myself. I do like a cocktail.
I like it. I like it.
Brainstorming session for sure.
I'm a late night person. I love like working late night when it's nice and quiet and things like that. And like
Yeah.
or like
I
just
can't last. I can't hang.
You're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't. Do you get
I'm
up
not a-
early
I'm
in the morning?
I do. I wake up at like 6:30 every day.
Oh, yeah, pass.
well,
Hard pass. I
I
had to wake up at 6:30 today and almost died.
I'm like a gamer mentality. I play games till like I'm like 1 in the morning.
Oh,
and
what
stuff
do you
like
play?
That. I'm Call of Duty, Warzone. I'm fucking
Okay,
nerd.
well,
Nerd.
my husband's down the street. You guys can talk.
Oh, my new office is complete today, and I can't wait. I bought a new
I'm
desk.
so
need to
excited
talk
for you.
about
It
it.
looks amazing.
Nate
like-
ranked in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's good stuff.
I like it. I like it. We're gonna chat. We're gonna chat. Well, Ashley, this was a pleasure having you on. You guys have seen the ads run with the Abundance Group and everything like that. But where can everyone find you? Let's give a little breakdown. What you have up. If you have a campaign run or anything like that, tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, we'll slide into my DMs, as you said. Truly love that. So we're just at the Abundance Group on Instagram. The website is theabundance.group. And if you want to check out the mastermind, you can just go to /mastermind. And if you want to take the quiz, and you should, because the quiz is amazing.
Oh, I'm gonna.
It's just /quiz. Yeah. So theabundance.group/quiz. Yeah.
Also /TVT for all.
That's
TVT.
right.
All-
Yes.
100%. Well, that's
Probably
true.
add that.
Well, and too, we're actually doing something really cool because we're switching up kind of what resources we're giving your podcast listeners. Because I mean, as someone who's been involved with y'all for a while, I was a listener and loved y'all, loved the energy. I loved just who you were and you show up. Because again, sometimes we feel this level of judgment in the community, and you guys are like, no, we're just fucking Mike and Lauren. We're having a good time and showing up. And so for me, I reached out and I was like, I have to be a part of what you're doing because this is a blast. And you're just like doing it the way you want to do it. Like that's life. That's how you're supposed to do it, is do it the way that you love it. So we've tried to give to your community, but we have a whole brand new training that I kind of go behind the scenes of like what I wish I knew as I was scaling my business. So if you are in that, but yeah, go to /TVT.
There it is, people. Look at that. A little
100%.
special for our TVT
I think my
listeners.
inner green is like smiling over the validation just now. Is it the green? Is it green or is it
I was
yellow?
gonna say, I think you're green. I think you're red.
I'm definitely
Green or
red.
red. But you also
I'm
know what's
red.
great is partnerships.
Yeah.
There's usually like duality. So like a yellow, blue, and a red, green.
Yeah.
So this does not surprise me. That's why it works.
We're
That's why it
Christmas
works.
colors.
There it is.
You
There it is.
enjoy it. Yeah, I love it.
I love it. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for coming on. It was an absolute pleasure having you on. Lauren, where can they find you?
You can find me at LaurenO'BrienPhoto.com and Lauren O'Brien Photo and the Feral Photog on Instagram and TikTok. Mike, where can they find you?
At Michael Casara Photo on Instagram, TikTok, as well as my website. And you can find us at the Vendor Table Pod on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, as well
Our
as...
Facebook group.
Guys, it's been fun. We'll catch you next time.
Okay, bye.